Hey, welcome to Switch Your Sitch with your host, Katie Turner. Excited today. I've got a local mum, fellow mum in my area, who has reached out because she has an amazing product that she's designed, and it's called, her company's called Boxhead Plastic. So really relevant to the environmental concerns that we're facing today. And she's created a product called Native. So welcome, Rebecca. I'm going to hand it over to you to give our audience a little bit of info about what Boxhead Plastics do, and why you have aptly made your switch from government employee into owning your own business with an environmental sustainability option. So welcome.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you very much. And thank you for that introduction. Yeah, it's great to be here. Super pumped. Listening back before we started getting my blood pumping. Hopefully I can give some exciting information about, what sometimes might seem to be a little bit of a dry subject, the old recycling. But yeah, look, for me, I grew up on property, on acreage, and, I think my mother's a little bit of a pioneer in the old recycling stage. I remember being a child and we didn't have bin collection out there on the farm. So we had to bundle all our rubbish up and take it into town and take it into the bins in town. And yeah, my mother would be very, very strict on sort of, separating all of the plastics and the glass. And we actually had huge, big 44-barrel drums out the front of our property, and everybody in the area would bring along their glass because everybody had the same issue. They had nowhere to put their rubbish. And so I remember as a child, hearing there'd be somebody down the front of the property and they'd be, dropping their glass.
The old white bottles.
Smash it, and another alcoholic. No, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I started work when I left school. Yeah, that is one big part of my story as well. Like I left school quite young. I was too busy running around thinking that I knew everything, and wanted to live free and fun, and do drugs and travel the world. And hopefully this podcast's not for children.
No, we don't advocate that.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so yeah, no education for me. Had my head not screwed on at all. But certainly, like in my soul and in my heart, I had that deep care for, country, for land, for the environment. And so when I decided to switch my brain on, I got a job with, local government, as you said. And gosh, what was I? I was about mid-20s at that point. And yeah, I worked for that company for about 15 years.
Wow. And
I remember, in the office, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, cans, you've got commingle recycling, paper recycling, rubbish, everything's in the rubbish bin. So here's me in my beautiful, like Alana Hill and my heels. I was an executive assistant to the GMs at that point, and I'm dumpster diving, another can out of the bin into the recycling bin.
That was before they were worth 10 cents each, right?
Exactly, yes. I was doing it for the love of the land.
Not for the money.
That's right, exactly. And probably making a few enemies while I was at it. And and I thought I hit the age of 40 and, still Botox free.
Hey, beautiful. See, coming off the land keeps you gorgeous.
Give up those cigarettes.
Yes.
And yeah, I thought I wanted to change. I wanted to do something meaningful with my life, and I wanted to, do something about this plastic waste that was going to landfill. And that's where my journey started. I started tinkering around. We lived in Redfern at the time, 2-bedroom apartment. I had a little tiny filler extruder and a little tiny 3D printer, and yeah, the ball just started rolling from there. I did a small business course. I then realized I needed to scale up and really had to have a bigger impact. So I went to TAFE I did a polymer technician's course, and yeah, so I went from my, beautiful review and an Alana Hill, shirts and heels to to my work boots and, no nail polish and oil all over my hands. And what came out of that is native and, yeah, these amazing golf tees. We take these car bumper bars here. I love props. Gotta have props.
This is how I met Rebecca. She walked in with I thought it was the front end of a car. I was like, what is she doing?
Yeah, who recently had a crash? Here, this. Look how big that is. It's massive. They're going to landfill. So I take those.
Yeah.
And I turn them into, this is our launch product. This is just the start for us. We just launched this year, native, and we've got our beautiful golf tees here. And yeah, and that is basically how I have, switched up my sitch.
Do you think that it was your passion that led you to actually switch your sitch? Or do you think it was the fact that you didn't like your job anymore? Like so many people I hear, and my clients are like, oh, I just can't spend another hour doing something I hate doing, which I've spent 40 hours a week doing. Or is it that you just had this burning desire that you just wanted to make a change for the better, and that led you to where you are now?
Yeah, look, I absolutely love my job and I had great opportunities there. And that job really afforded me to be an independent woman for many, many years. I got married later in life and I had a baby later in life, and I was able to buy my own home and, have some small comfortabilities as well in life. And, really that job did have meaning for me, and it gave me a great business basis as well, to present myself, how to carry myself. And a lot of the work now, even though I'm a polymer technician and an injection mold operator, I don't spend much time in the factory at the moment. More of it is here in the office doing all this office work, and it gave me a great basis. And so, and I did all my studies while I was still working full time, and I launched this business while I was working full time. So most people, when they're starting their own businesses, you can't just walk away from your job and just start a business. It takes years and years, and this has been about 5 years in the making. So I needed my job. They supported me to start this new venture. They've supported my new young family. And it was with great sadness that I did leave there, but this is where I had to go next. So that's why I did make the change.
And it's funny you say that. It's 5 years in the making. Like, we live in this society of everything's, got to be instant. You put a few posts up on social media and you're supposed to be famous. Or I read a tweet this morning from Peter Fitzsimmons who said, I went to see Amy Shark 2 weeks ago and I love her, and I was lucky to do the meet and greet. And he was at the end of the aisle and he sort of said to us as we walked in, are you her security? And I was like, what do you mean? But he put this tweet out to say how far she's come. And he remembers seeing her in 2016 as an unknown at a football dinner, and there he is at her concert in Sydney with a packed out Kudos Arena. And Amy Shark's name is known around the world now. So it isn't that instant gratification. It is succession in planning as well. Like you said, you safeguard yourself from, putting yourself into a position where you can study at night or study, you still have the finances, but successfully planning to get to where you are now. So how do you? I think that's a really important step. And for people who are listening, who think that they have to automatically switch their sitch in overnight, it very rarely happens that way.
Oh, absolutely. And for me, I've had to have that passion because it's been incredibly challenging. It's very difficult. And we're not turning a profit yet either. A lot of businesses don't within their first few years. So it's all about that burn inside your heart that keeps you going forward.
Yeah, I always say, you have to find what your passion is, because 95% of the time it will be challenging, or you'll be operational, you'll be doing stuff that you don't love doing, or, you didn't think that you would do. And now here you are, as you said, there's challenging times. So where did you get your funding from to start with in terms of the mold, the creation of it? Did you inject yours? Were you able to get funding externally?
So it's been my own funding at the moment. And I've been really careful about having a cap on that, because otherwise I could run away with it. It's everything, as you know, everybody knows, everything costs money. Nothing comes for free. But we are a charity as well. So our objective, we don't just have the environmental objective, but we would also like to scale up and have our own factory to be able to employ those that are at a distance to the labour market. So we are a charity with those two objectives, and we do apply for funding as well through grant opportunities.
Do you think, I've done both. I've looked for venture capitalists with a business that I had a couple of years ago, and I'm about to launch a product in October. Again, it's still under an NDA, but I've bootstrapped that. So do you think, the bootstrap side of things, I have kept my operational costs at a minimum, watch where the funding goes. Do you think that keeps your costing under cap? Like you say, you could mortgage your house if you wanted to, once you get, put $50,000 into marketing, but having to bootstrap it, do you think you've been extra careful with where the money's gone?
Yes, but sometimes it's a little bit trial and error too, particularly when for me, we've created a new product, and the material that goes into the product is our own material as well. So for example, like I bought some packaging the other day. We would like to have dispenser boxes where you can sell sort of bulk golf tees, where you could just buy one or two and pick out. And as much as I did all the proofs and, went over and over and over it again, and I dropped the cash, I thought, okay, I'll just order 100 to start with. And they turned up and I don't like them. So sometimes money gets spent and you just think, well, it's a lesson learned.
Yeah. And there's plenty of those in starting your own business, and that's where I think, like, now I do a lot of business coaching, and I think, I know business coaches who've stepped out of corporate, and I'm like, how are you mentoring people starting their own business when you've never had your own money on the line, and made those mistakes and shared that? Because it is work in progress. What's been the biggest lesson so far, do you think? Or the biggest challenge you've had?
I think for me, and it's funny actually, I got asked that question. I did an interview panel a few weeks ago with the Hornsby Chamber of Commerce, and one of the crowd members asked me that question, and I just sat there like, I don't know everything. But when I really thought about it, I'm my biggest challenge. Getting past that self-doubt is the biggest challenge of mine. Being able to put myself forward and say, you know what, you absolutely have to buy these teas. These teas rule, and they're going to improve your game. They're going to, they're saving the environment. They're, Australian made, Australian owned, female founder. You've just got to get on board, and Drummond's on board, and,
Yeah, you got big names behind you.
Oh my gosh. It is just so, and then people, you get the negative feedback, because of course everybody has a different style and a different type of, product that they like. Like, why do I choose this face cream over that face cream? And
that fitness trainer over that fitness trainer, that hairdresser.
So to just be able to remove that sort of person, like my own personality from this product and from this mission, and be more of a business approach has been my biggest challenge, has really, just being able to put one foot in front of the other, and really just from a business level, just continue to go forward and just absolutely believe in myself, just constantly like, you've got this, Bec, you've got this, Bec. And it's fully male dominant, this industry as well. Like, I had a meeting this morning with like 6 huge heads of business. They were all men, and there was me in the factory.
Great. If you can get that head on with 6 guys, you got this for the rest of your life. Because it is, I've been in male dominated industries basically the last 20 years I've been in business, from finance to fitness. I did my undergrad in economics, everything. I have been, I don't promote myself as a female business coach because I think for me, it's working with men and female, and I don't like to put myself in that box, but it is intimidating when you walk in there when you're first starting out. You're with people with big personalities who've been in the game for a long period of time, and I'm about to do some content around that imposter syndrome that we call it, where there is self-doubt. Even 20 years later, I self-doubt, is there a role for me? Will people actually uptake my product or service? And I think that's a really important point, that you remove yourself from business personally. And it's hard to do, really hard to do, but business is business. And so many people have different, like you said, different reasons for not purchasing your product or service that has nothing to do with you. So I think that's one way to alleviate. The second way is continually patting yourself on the back, and you got this, you have got this. It's a constant reminder to be your biggest cheerleader. So you moved to Barara, you started a young family, and you started a business at the same time, which has been the most challenging part of those three. Putting all those balls in the air at the same time.
Oh, like by far mothering a 2-year-old, by far.
Yeah. And putting that in the mix, because it's physical, it's mental, then you've got to somehow fit your business time in there. As you know, I have a fitness business, and when COVID hit and I had my 5-year-old in between my legs while I'm trying to teach Pilates on Zoom, I thought, what the heck am I doing? Like, this is just, you want to throw a challenge into the mix. There's one right there.
You know what I've been saying to everybody? You want me? You have a 2-year-old as well. So nearly every meeting, he's just started daycare this year. Every meeting I've been on, every business adventure, anything, even the talk I did the other night at the sustainability co-op, for our sustainability co-op, he was there.
And that's, it's so much more accepted these days as well. Like, I remember my husband watching the Zoom link going, people are actually paying you for that. And I'm like, hey,
yeah, they are.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a newsreader in Singapore that had to read the news globally with his kids running in between his feet and the nanny chasing after him. I was like, yeah, it's all on. And you're right. That's life. That's family. Why have we had to shy away from that for so long, especially as a female? Like, it's no longer staying at home, cooking, cleaning. It is, working, starting businesses, finding a purpose beyond that.
Yep.
So you said you have no formal education. And I love this point, because it's something that I bring up with all of my co-hosts, people who come on and co-host this podcast. What do you think about the TAFE system, and learning through that as opposed to on the job or more formally through higher education? What did TAFE bring to the party?
For me, TAFE gave the real hands-on, which is look, as I get older, I am more mature enough to approach any learning situation. So I can do classroom and I can apply myself outside of the classroom to continue to learn. But I am more of a hands-on learner, in the sense that, let me do it. Yeah. Rather than tell me about it. So that was probably the biggest thing with TAFE, is that I had access to the factory, to all the machinery, and it was stacks and stacks of practical, which I really liked. Of course, with plastics and polymers, there's a lot of science and chemistry behind it as well. And I just needed to come home and just continue to repeat what I've learned during that day, because a lot of it, even just some of the basic math, I was really having heart palpitations. I'm like, radius, pi r squared, 3 point, I don't know. So I just had to fake it until I made it, I love that. Fake it till you make it. Yeah. Oh, calculator out. Yeah, I've got that. Yep.
I like that, because firstly, I deliver leadership. I was delivering a lot of leadership training in the classroom, and you would see, and I had contracts with the NRL players versus corporate leaders, and I'd walk into the NRLs to deliver Cert 3 and 4 in fitness and business, and they'd have their footy out. I had literally 7 minutes of engagement before I lost them. And part of that was me in a massive learning curve going, we learn so differently. Some people learn through reading and writing, others learn hands-on kinesthetically, and the education system are really lagging behind the industry these days, I think, in terms of the higher ed stuff. The TAFE does provide that hands-on real learning, and I think that's where they're going to really carve themselves out going forward, as they're delivering real hands-on techniques and education. So yeah. Okay, so the next thing is obviously we know how you started now. How do you differentiate yourself? Because there's so many products out there that are under the environmentally sustainable banner and the Australian made. How do you differentiate native from, let's say, the next competitor or another environmental sustainability product?
Yeah, for us, I think particularly in our field, we really targeting the golf industry, like they get such a bad rap sometimes, lots of clearing of land, they use lots of water, pesticides are used, players litter. So that's really been with our product. We've been able to support the sustainability of the golfing industry. As far as all the other teas on the market, there is just a gazillion golf. I mean, the golf tea industry globally is worth $1.5 billion. So you can imagine how many golf teas are on. And everybody, do you like the natural? Do you like plastic? There's bamboo golf teas, biodegradable golf teas. How do we stand out? I mean, really, our biggest standout point is we are the only golf tea in the global market that is manufactured in Australia. So that's our biggest sale point. And the second point is our golf teas are made not just from plastic waste, but they're made from automotive plastic waste. So companies like BMW, who just bought a whole ton of our golf teas, and we can also custom print on the packaging as well, because there's synergies there between the automotive industry and our product. And so we are a high-end product, so we aren't as competitive on price point, but we're targeting the high-end customers, which predominantly, golfers are.
Yes.
And particularly some of the private courses where we stock at Pennant Hills Golf Club, where we stock some of our products. And they love the story behind it. They love to think, wow, this is made out of, Mercedes, BMW, Audis, like just that whole. So I think that car thing really drives sales.
There. Do you play golf? Is this how it eventuated, or why the golf team?
I have a set of golf clubs, and I went to, and I hadn't used them for a long time. I went down to the golf course, down to the driving range one day, and started having a bit of a swing. And one of the pros came over to me and said, "Oh, have you played golf before?" And I said, "Probably haven't swung a club for about at least 10 years." And he said, "Give us a swing." So I'm like, okay, I've got a driver, I've lined up, swung, missed. And he said, "Do you know that you're using a man's golf club?"
Yeah, and?
And then he took it off me and he looked at it, he's like, "Jesus, these are like 20 years old."
But hey, I've got these amazing teas. Can I sell you one?
Yeah, see, it's not the golfer, it's the golf teas that give you the real performance.
What's the price point difference? Like how much are your natives and how much is a normal golf tee, for example?
Yeah, look, I mean, with the wedge tees, we're pretty much on par with the wedge tees are the bigger golf tees, they're the driving tees, and they sort of sell somewhere around singularly. They can sell in a pro shop somewhere around the $1, $2 mark. So we sell our packets of golf tees for $6. So there's 5 golf tees in here, or we sell them singularly for $1 each. So we do have that price advantage in that sense, but that's quite a small market where you think of maybe if you went to Drummond Golf and there'd be a full wall of golf tees.
Mm-hmm.
So within our competitors, which we really, our competitor, like in out of all the golf tees, we narrow down who are our competitors. Not all golf tees. They're not. We can't compete with the imports.
Yeah.
But with our main, we've got one main huge competitor here in Australia, and they are a plastic golf tee as well, and they are stocked in most stores around Australia. We are price competitive with that golf tee.
Do you think COVID has really made people, because like the product I'm designing, my design team, and we'll launch at the end of the year, is now I did a focus group. It's a product for kids. So I did a focus group with 15 local mums, and that Australian made, Australian designed was so important. Then prior to COVID, nobody really, maybe you had a few people that cared about it, but it wasn't a purchasing point. Do you think COVID's really, sort of highlighted the fact of what is Australian made and what is Australian designed? And is that work to your advantage?
Oh, absolutely, definitely. And I think even some of the advantages of our product is shipping times as well. We can just get things from A to B so much quicker. I know, like I've ordered products, we order stuff on whatever, Amazon, eBay, wherever we buy from, and it comes from overseas and it's taking so long. But I really do feel that there is, we have we are a licensed Australian made. We have the Australian made logo, and it is such a recognised brand. And, it's over 90% of Australians recognise and trust that brand. So absolutely, I think COVID has helped us in that sense that, yeah, we need to be, we're all traveling local, we're buying local, we're shopping local, we're staying local, if we can even get out of our houses. Poor Victoria have been really hit hard. Yeah, so, and we're shopping a lot online too. So it has been advantageous to us. And of course, Australia's also just been hit with China's golden sword. They're no longer taking our plastic waste and our plastic rubbish. And these car bumper bars are low-grade plastic waste. 80% of this was shipped offshore. And Australia is now looking for ways to deal with this plastic waste, and we're providing that solution to that problem. So I think that's really, that's highlighting. That's what's giving us a lot of PR as well.
Go you. That sounds amazing. Like there's a two-end. You're helping with getting rid of golf tees as plastic waste and car bumper bars. Australian made, female design, female owner. Global, are you looking at a global market? Is that where you're gonna, is that the goal, is to get overseas, America, Brazil, UK?
You've got to think globally. You've got to think globally. We are in discussions already with a company that would like to purchase and ship to, they've got a company in the US.
Excellent.
So that is definitely on the cards for us. And yeah, big thinking, that is one thing that I've learned in this business is big thinking. Yes, my feet have to be planted on the ground where I am right now, but my mind is, where are we going to be in 5 and 10 years time?
Yeah.
And we've only just launched our first product this year. We're already starting to work on our next product. And yeah, absolutely, we have to go global to bring in the revenue.
I love that. You know, I've always had a big picture, as Richard Branson said, especially with Australia, we're so small in terms of our economies of scale, you know, that it's hard to actually make money in Australia. You do have to think about going global, and that's a huge impact. So what advice can you offer those people who are sitting in their jobs and have a burning itch thinking, I really want to do that, I'm too scared, I don't know where to start? Like you said, it is a 5-year plan you've worked towards. What advice can you offer our listeners?
Oh, gosh, you just got to do it.
Just have to. That's number one thing, is I think you just have to do it. I have this saying that we are all going to end up in that wooden box in the ground, and I'd rather go, you know, with memories than dreams. So that's one thing that I always have in the back of my head, is that I want to make memories rather than, you know, wish I had of. Just do it. But I think what you've shown, and you know, I'm absolutely blown away with, you know, how much you've already achieved from leaving a job, making sure, you know, it's been a calculated risk. You've had a plan in place. You've done the hard yards of working and studying and forward planning, then having a baby amongst that mix and moving. You know, that 5-year plan, I think you're right. You just have to start somewhere. And that's the biggest stepping stone, is making that, you know, that first step.
Absolutely, yes. And, you know, most things aren't going to work, and that's okay. You know, I had fail after fail after fail after fail. Actually, the last batch that I just made of golf tees, I've made a mistake, and they actually went out to market, and I'm getting feedback from that. So, you know, it's another huge thing that has really driven the success of Boxhead Plastics is mentorship and having a team behind you. We have a team of 8. So, you know, I am not doing this alone. And I just feel like, yeah, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you know, you've got to go with other people. And absolutely, you know, I've got my board, and I've also got a separate advisory board of 5 people that just advise me from a business perspective, because I can tell you now, I know about this much. With my board, we know a fucking lot.
Yeah.
Bringing the success forward. Mentors, get your mentors, get people behind you, get your advisory board together, and listen to what other people are saying.
It's so true, because you need that sometimes devil's advocate. You need somebody who's going to challenge your decision making, somebody who's going to be your biggest cheerleader along the way when you have that imposter syndrome hit your head. To the strengths, the areas that, you know, I have a whole team. I have a team that does all my video and social media cut ups. I have a web design team. There's all of mine as media services, because they're the areas that I have no expertise in. That's like, here's my content, here's my vision. Now you guys let me know what you can do with it. And I think that's really important, to know what your strengths are and where you can add value, and then you hire the rest, basically, or you go to an advisory board to help you along the way. So yes, I think that's, yeah, great advice, because it is, like you said, if you want to do it fast, do it alone. If you want to go far, surround yourself with a great team.
Yep.
And that goes with everything. Well, I'm going to cut us off there. I've used enough of your time, and you've opened my eyes to, like, even what is possible from when I first met you to thinking, oh, like, what is this product and what is your journey? I love the story behind it. I love that you are in a male-dominated industry, like, you know, both in cars and in golf. It's disrupting both industries. So my hat's off to you. And if you need any help, or you want to have a chat, coffee, I'm putting my hand up to say I'm here. So sometimes it is about connecting local as well.
Yeah, be careful offering help, because I'm going to take you up on it. I need all the help I can get.
Beautiful. I'm more than happy to offer it. So hats off to Bec. I'll be seeing you around, but just so our listeners can find you and a bit about your story, what socials or what website, where can they go?
Yes, thank you. We're doing all the social medias at the moment. I have been out of the social media spotlight for 40 years. I'm 42 now, actually, probably 41 years. The last year, not months. I've got an Instagram account.
Hey,
page, I've got LinkedIn, I've even got a YouTube account, like I'm posting little videos. So yeah, on all of those, you can find us at Boxhead Plastics. And please follow us, please like us. And also too, you can visit our website, www.boxheadplastics.com. And if you want to buy any of our amazing golf tees, you can go to Native. It's www.native.com.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Bec Healy, for changing the world one golf tee at a time. We'll be following you on Boxhead Plastics and looking forward to the next product launch. Yay! Well done. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.